Good morning, everyone. I hope y'all are having a good day today. Well, today I wanted to talk about the case of LaShawn Massey. And when I heard about this, it happened up in Irving, and I know North Texas very well. I spent, half of my life there easily. And I know that since I've lived there and I've been there, that it has grown exponentially, and the urban sprawl has spread out to the once small little towns. And that feel, that kind of old school Texas feel of being able to get out into the country is shrinking on such a level that, from what I have seen and what I know, there really is no out in the country so much anymore. I mean, it's shrinking, and I that's something that probably will never be reclaimed. But anyway, the country is always going to be a special place in my heart, and I love the refuge and the solace. But back to LaShawn, when I first saw this story, I immediately, of course, felt like someone had to have done something to this woman. She's absolutely stunning. I mean, what is there not to find completely gorgeous about this woman? She is extremely successful and has higher education beyond belief, and had a beauty pageant that she was supposed to compete in Corsicana yesterday, Thursday. So I wanted to kind of take a peek here at the story, and I have a couple of different takes on it. Well, I'm going to read you just a little bit of what I discovered, but there's just a couple of different angles that I hope, that the police right now are overwhelmed. They are overwhelmed with crime, with violent crime. I'll just go ahead and say that. I mean, I can clarify that. There's no way they're going to be able to keep up with every single case, and they have a very short time, a short window of opportunity to investigate, and more are becoming dependent on everyone's personal security systems and cell phones, because there's just no way with the amount of people and the situation. We are definitely in a societal collapse. Um, the wheels, I really feel like we're just riding on the rims, and sparks are flying out from those rims. And when you're in a car and you're still rolling down the highway, you can't always see those sparks, but you can feel that padding is gone. The tread is, not only is it worn down, but it's, you know, curled up in a little mass on the side of the road of just a strip of rubber. I mean, I really believe that's the only way I can really describe it. So, law enforcement law enforcement is just drowning, I would imagine. So, anyway, it says that Irving police said that a body was found in Lago de Clare in Irving. Irving's a very upscale city. Didn't used to be, it is now. This is upper class people with some money. Thursday morning, and that it had matched the clothing. So the body that they found matched the clothing description of a missing 38-year-old woman. They haven't yet identified the body. That could happen today. It says that the Texas Department of Public Safety dive team, they helped Irving police with the recovery from the lake. Okay, there's a story that occurs before this, but I just want to get you up to date that they did recover a body from the lake in the same area where LaShawn Massey was last seen on Tuesday. They began searching for her after she went missing near Lake Lago de Clare in La Valeta between 5:30 and 7:30 a.m. That's a huge open window of time. So police haven't confirmed it yet. We know that. That might come out today. If so, I may get back on and update you, but I imagine it would be her. And that's really tragic. It said that, according to the police, she's 38. She was known to go on early morning walks, but would usually be home by 7 to get her children ready for online learning. She did have 2 elementary school children at home. She was crowned Mrs. Dallas. Huge thing. Okay, that is a huge accomplishment. You want to talk about a town of beauties, Dallas. I know Dallas. I lived in Dallas. I was raised in Dallas for a period of time, and Dallas has some of the most beautiful women in the world in it, in my opinion. And she was set to compete in the Mrs. Texas America pageant in September. The Mrs. Texas pageant said on Facebook. Her husband reported her missing at 7:40 a.m. and the police received, I heard multiple tips, but also they received a tip based on a Lake Lago de Clare sighting. Okay, so this is a tip that could have been made on one of those anonymous lines, and they said they received it based on a Lake Lago de Clare sighting. On Tuesday, urban police said foul play was not suspected. That's really soon to eliminate foul play. That's really too soon to eliminate foul play, and they may be doing that for a reason. The watch commander on Tuesday morning recalled a previous call around 5:30 a.m. about 2 witnesses who said they saw a female getting out of the waterway and stand on a bench near Lago de Clare and then go walking off, said Media Relations Officer Robert Reeves. Okay, the witnesses were recontacted. Okay, that's good. So they had a way to be recontacted. And police asked Irving Fire and Texas Parks and Wildlife to help and use sonar to search the waterways. Well, I know the lake was dragged and they did this and nothing came up right away. It was dragged multiple times. Reeves said that they had received numerous tips, including Ring doorbell video footage that led them to believe that they needed to search the waterways again. They requested the help of Texas DPS, who began searching Thursday morning. And that lake is said to be between 85 to 90 feet deep, and that the body was recovered with the same clothing description as that of Massey. Well, there's more to the story than this. And for one thing, that is a really, really large window of time. That was her routine, apparently. I've read conflicting stories that said she would go for her walks at around 7, but then other stories are stating that she would go between like 5 or 5:30 and always be back by 7. And then when she wasn't home around 7:15, the husband said that he got really worried and he called 911 and discovered that other calls had already been made to 911 saying that a woman had been coming in and out of the water, that a woman was emerging from the water, stood on a bench, and then walked away. And he has come out and said, and I really am not that confident to play any video, but he did say that she was terrified of the water and that her cell phone pinged, okay, in the area across the lake from the residential section that they lived in. Across the lake were some extremely nice high-end apartments, and that the phone pinged from over there. That was the last signal that they got, was on the opposite side. All right. It said that she was wearing a black hoodie and checkered pajama pants. And this article said she was last seen around 7:30 a.m. on April 27th near Lago de Clare. So, that's a little conflicting. I'm reading a lot of different conflicting times. There has been no confirmation, of course. Then it says that a body was found submerged in the water around 9:45 a.m. 2 days later. The clothing matched, and she was actually found in a canal that connected, or I guess that fed into that big lake. So that's why they didn't find the body in the lake. It said, in addition to being a wife, a mother, and a businesswoman, she is also the reigning Mrs. Dallas and was scheduled to compete for that Mrs. Texas America crown. Here's another little bit of information. It says on the morning that LaShun Massey went missing, witnesses reported seeing her walking on the edge of the lake. And that lake was kind of an ominous looking lake. It was extremely deep, kind of dark. It's a possibility it could have been artesian fed. It had that look to me. There's a lot of artesian springs up there. They had asked her if she was okay. Okay, this is a witness. Asked her if she was okay, and she said she was. So they carried on about their business. Firefighter Robert Keeker said on the first day of the search. After that, they said they saw her exit the water, and then we later received a tip someone else had seen her walking in the water again a couple of hours later. So that's really strange. Her husband said that for the last 2 years, his wife has taken a 7 a.m. walk by the lake and checks in, but said he became worried after he hadn't heard from her. So at about 7:15, he got a little nervous and he texted her. I gave her a call and she didn't answer, so at the time I found our security guard down here and said that they had seen her or somebody over in the canal. It's odd, okay, because before we were given a time frame that went around 5 or 5:30 to 7, and then when she wasn't back, he said for the last, now in this article it says that, and it's really common to give conflicting statements when you're in a panic and something terrible has happened like this, your time frames can be really off. So to me, the picture that I'm getting from this is that she would get up really early and go for a walk around that area. And I saw some pictures of it and it looked like a safe place to walk, but ladies, there's no safe place to walk. I'm just going to go ahead and interrupt this transmission. Ladies, there is no safe place to walk, period. There is no safe place to walk. You can make yourself less likely to be a victim if you are skilled in carrying a weapon. Okay? However, even with that, you are not 100% safe. And I want to emphasize this because in America, all of us, people that live here, we have kind of been lulled, not kind of, we have been lulled into a false sense of security here because we live in the land of the free. And coming up in this nation, we have that feeling. We came by it honestly. We've always known and we're taught, those of us at of a certain age, that the police were here to protect us, that we could always call them if we needed them, that America was the greatest country on earth. And so it's really counterintuitive to think that the land of the free and the home of the brave could be a place where you could lose your life by going on a walk or going to the mall or going to the mall and coming back from the mall, going to the grocery store and coming back from the grocery store, going for a walk. A lot of women go missing that go out for these runs in rural areas and within the city, in the suburbia. A lot of times it's not popular. It's not a popular notion to think that it's not okay or safe for you to do just anything that you want to do at any time during the day. It doesn't matter what time of day. However, however, and women, I know that we've had a big feminist movement and we've had the Me Too movement and all those kind of things, but don't get uh, lulled back into that false sense of security that you're so empowered, because you cannot really, and I cannot in good conscience tell you that you can do whatever you want whenever you want and not expect and not have an encounter with this element of society. Now, she was going out really early in the morning for those walks in what appeared to be a safe area. If I were to take the theory that she did not walk into that, first of all, I'm going to take the theory just by chance, because they ruled out foul play, it seems like pretty much immediately. And there may be good reason for that. Maybe there's video of her walking into the water and drowning herself. However, I would like to remind you that across the lake from where she lived, there she is, across the lake from where she lived was a set of apartments. And even though they're upscale, y'all, these people that commit crimes, like, somebody could have come from one of these apartments, had seen her routine, and done something to her and disposed of her in that water. Somebody could have, okay? That's just looking at it from a perspective of this being an act of violence, a random act of violence, or one that was calculated, or maybe somebody in the competition. The beauty pageants have an element of competition that, unless you're in that environment and in that kind of particular subculture, that's a really highly competitive arena for a woman to be in. It's just endless. It's an endless, you know, I would say it's just an endless endeavor to actually, I guess theoretically, you could go on forever, is what I'm trying to say. Theoretically, you could really go on forever and coming up with theories for what happened to her if she didn't drown herself. In that neighborhood, of course, like I said, it doesn't look like anything could happen. However, I just can't stress enough that these people are living amongst us and they have money. The ones that act out have money and they have means. And, don't, just because a neighborhood looks nice, she had a routine and people knew who she was. And she was a small business owner with an advanced education. So, from that standpoint, I just want to emphasize that you should never really feel safe, whatever you're doing I want to say outside the home, something that takes you on foot outside the home. You have to be vigilant, and in my opinion, you've got to have some way to protect yourself. And I'm going to take a big risk of probably offending everyone out there. Don't do it in the first place. Don't put yourself out there between 5 and 6 a.m. or 4 and 7 a.m. or 7 to 8 a.m. Don't put yourself out there, after 7 o'clock at night, preferably 6:37. If you're going to be out by yourself walking, exercising, biking, no, none of that. Find a way in the climate that we're in, okay? And really, this has been going on for this type of, uh, societal element, threat to our personal safety has been going on a long time, but it's escalating now. it's escalating. Just don't put yourself out there to do that. If you're going to go for a walk outside, I would say do it. If you just can't have anybody to go with you, if you have an area that you feel is safer than it is safe, okay, you have that baseline of safety, I would really encourage you to have some type of weapon to defend yourself, and do not count on the cell phone. I have yet to run across anything where the cell phone saved the person. Her cell phone didn't save her. The cell phone did not help save Miss Erica Hernandez. The cell phone has not worked in helping anyone that I know of yet. I'm sure it's helped provide some leads. I know it provides leads and can give a general location. But in terms of your safety, that cell phone is not a weapon of personal protection. You are not going to have time to open it up and have the presence of mind to exit out of all those screens and all those apps and have the presence of mind to dial a number and have time for it to connect. The call could drop. You might think, well, I've got my cell phone. If I see someone, I can just call somebody or text them. Someone can get that phone away from you and text easily, open up your Apple phone with your thumbprint and find a number that you've given under duress and text somebody and deflect and make it look like you're okay when you're not. I'm kind of beginning to wonder about that with Ms. Hernandez. If whoever sent that text, apparently she sent a text saying, Ms. Hernandez did, saying she was 5 minutes away from her destination. And then 5 minutes later, her phone was turned off. So she could have already been in captivity by that time. So the cell phone, ladies, is not a self-defense weapon. It's just not. And I know you might think that if something happened to you, someone can find you and trace and track you like immediately, and it doesn't work that way, and it's going to be too late for the most part. So I would feel better if, yes, you could have your phone on you and you can keep the connection going with someone. You could keep it going with someone the whole time that you're walking. But I would say at this point, you guys, women, we all have to stay vigilant and have something with us to protect ourselves against the criminal element. Because as our country collapses, and we haven't seen the worst of it yet, okay, we're seeing the people who are coming out of the woodwork early, but if this is what's coming out early, can you imagine what's going to come out later? So I just want to emphasize that a cell phone is not a personal protection device. Okay, so we know that this was her routine. All right, so she's established a routine. Anybody in those apartments could have seen her and often probably did. But then there's another angle that I want to approach. So at about 7:15, he got nervous. I have seen videos of her husband. He looks genuinely distraught, and he's been seen sitting out there by that lake, for days. So not anymore, but in the beginning he was. And they were so focused on the lake right away. That was kind of disturbing to me and made me wonder. The reason that they were is because they did have some video that showed her maybe entering the lake to off herself, but in a way it sounds like they don't, because they dragged that lake several times and didn't find anything. And the current could have taken her to the canal, but then someone said they saw her at the canal. The guard did. So the husband said that it's like he's in a nightmare. He doesn't know how to feel. He knows God is going to take care of his family. Ms. Ross said her daughter would never get close to the water. The mother did. She was very afraid of the water. Plus, she did not know how to swim. There's no way she would have played or gotten in the water. We really haven't gotten any answers, but I thank God we have found our daughter, so we have closure. Well, the only other thing I can say is that I know she didn't own her own company, and that she had a very strong presence in the community, and she was incredibly gorgeous. I mean, my gosh, they just don't get any more gorgeous than this woman. I mean, she was just a stunner to look at, and obviously had depth of character and incredibly super intelligent. Super intelligent. And you don't succeed in life without a specific amount of determination and dedication and to higher education as an engineer like she did. So another theory to me is that she could have snapped under the pressure. Women that compete in pageants, and especially with her being as successful as she was and the amount of responsibility that she had, and then going to compete at 39 in a pageant. One thing about pageants is that you are going to be scrutinized. You've got to put on a bathing suit and stand there and be scrutinized by people. You can't have any cellulite, you can't have any fat, you can't show signs of age. You've got to be perfect. There is a perfection undercurrent. Actually, it's the strongest current. It's the undertow. It's that strive to be perfect is just a deadly trap, because we as human beings, none of us can achieve perfection. And there's a possibility that having two young children and having achieved so much in her life at such an early age, that facing the pressure of, basically having to be in a bathing suit and high heels and be perfect looking, that, she might have just snapped. Because that's a big window of time for her to exercise, is between 5 and 7 is the general, what I'm getting from this, is that she might have really been possibly exercising too much. Maybe, when you're about to get into a bathing suit, women, we can lose it a little bit. There's really nothing more daunting than a woman getting into a dang bathing suit, unless you're 18 years old or 6.
It has been nearly 36 hours. The mother of two last seen in Irving.
Okay, I've got to shut this off.
After neighbors say they saw her walking around, Chicago declared.
So, if you're facing the grim reality in
Rachel
a way of
O'Neal
getting into
spoke
a
with her
bathing
husband
suit.
and is live at the apartment complex now with what all he had to say. Rachel.
Okay, I don't know how to get rid of this. I'm gonna.
Can 38-year-old LaShawn.
Okay, so that's a whole nother video. So all I can say is, by looking at her physique and how beautiful she is, that takes a lot of time to get into that kind of shape. So that, on top of raising children, homeschooling them, the shift in our society where everything has been moved to the home, that's a traumatic change. People aren't handling it well, and it changes the dynamic in the home, without a doubt. Now she had to be a teacher and get them ready for online learning and have them home all day. And there's nothing wrong with that, but that is a major change in the dynamic and the family and societal dynamic. Okay, so we've suffered a major blow from everything. So it really could have gone either way. And it's really sad, because she is absolutely a stunner. I mean, she's a stunner. Inside and out. She's the beautiful creation that God has made. And I truly believe she is with the Lord and has found peace. But, you know, a couple of things that did stand out to me was the fact that they searched the lake and concentrated on it so quickly, right away. And I hope they are canvassing and doing the good old-fashioned footwork as well. But with the amount of crime going on, y'all, those days are probably going to be fewer and far between, if at all. And that's why I don't want you to be a victim. At the time that I was lucky that things hadn't hit the fan as bad as they've hit them now. So the last thing I really want to cover, and then I'm going to stop because I know my videos go on really long, is here's another case. This happened in Florida. This individual followed two women home early on Monday morning. Sage Curry, 19, was arrested in the city of Largo on Monday and charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder and burglary. He's being held at the Pinellas County Jail without bail. The police lieutenant, Scott Gore, said his team were called to a home on 8th Avenue Northwest just before 2 a.m. that morning after Curry alerted a neighbor and asked for help. Investigators said that he confessed to grabbing the sharpest kitchen knife he could find and stabbing both women multiple times. He stabbed the first woman while she slept. The second victim tried to stop him, injuring Curry, but he still managed to stab her in the neck. He had mental health problems, and there was no alcohol or drugs in his system, and he had no previous criminal charges. Police went inside the home and found 2 female bodies on the floor. They believe the incident was a random attack, but that may change as the investigation continues, but there's no known relationship between the subject and the victims. And I know that sounds a little familiar, doesn't it? You know, the case that we talked about in Pearland, same type of MO. Okay, so people were shocked that this guy could do that, but they said he was the kind of guy that kept to himself. Here's the other thing that I'm really concerned with about the population that we have to really protect ourselves from. A minister and local community advocate said it was breathtaking, and I had to do a double take and say it was the same kid that I knew. Estremera said. He said he added that the teenager was dealing with family troubles and isolating himself during the pandemic. I think it's very important that we get to know our youth and understand they're dealing with times we've never dealt with before. Okay, and I really couldn't have said it better, and I'm quoting that. And I'm probably going to leave it there. You know, this is just a new world we're living in. It's a violent one. This is someone who was stuck at home, possibly playing a lot of computer games, glued to a screen, no interaction with other people. I'm not saying that justifies anything. I've worked with violent offenders, youth, for the state of Texas. I've done sensitivity training with hardened criminals that were young people. And I couldn't believe how many there were. And I'll get into that in another video. But you got to watch out for these kids, these teenagers. You cannot trust anybody right now. And I know it's a lot to hear and a lot to take. But I want you to protect yourself and consider ways that you can protect yourself, because the party is over in America. And the place that we once did feel free the place where we were once free is now not what it used to be. So we do. All of us have a cross to bear, and it's a new world we all live in. It's the new world that we all live in. So don't lay it down for too long. Jesus loves us. As long as we make him our Lord and our Savior, we will be saved from this violent, evil place. So on that note, I know that's depressing, but and it's alarming, but I just want you all to know that you can protect yourself. Lock your bedroom door. If you're worried about a fire, keep a fire extinguisher in your bedroom. Line your bedroom windows with bottles. Have a way to protect yourself and be careful. Stay vigilant. Keep your head on a swivel and realize these young people move pretty quick. Okay? They're going to be more agile and nimble than us people getting up there. So, don't be feeling too sorry for these teenage boys. All right, I've worked with them and I know how they think and how they work to some degree. So, anyway, be careful for the heartstrings. God bless all of you. And I pray for your families and that you all are safe and sound. Okay, everyone. Talk to you all soon. Okay, bye bye.